I am Carolyn, your host of Running Recaps podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm so excited to be here. Listen, I'm not going to delay y'all. I'm going to get right up into this. Everybody's talking about Luenell and Al Be Sure. They came out not long ago stating that they're in a whole relationship, y'all. A whole relationship. And the internet and the people like we are, they don't have a lot of good things to say about it. Most people feel as if, you know, they're not a good couple. He's just with her for the money and all of this stuff, right? She's gonna be a sugar mama, whatever, whatever. But let me get into this a little bit. Let me just let you know about the two of them. Albie Sure is from back in the day. He was an R&B singer, pretty boy. You know how it goes. He had a little track record from back in the day. The women loved him. Okay, then we got comedian. Can't say enough about Luenell. Luenell, she's a very salacious woman in her stand-up performance. You know, she says it like it is and like she feel. That's what she does, and she does a good job in it because she keeps the coins coming from what it seems. I mean, I see her continuously to work. She acts. She also has a residency. They said at Jimmy Kimmel's club doing stand up, and she's been doing that for a while. She travels and tours. So Lunel keeps her coins coming in, right? So they kind of like you would think opposites attract, but the real truth is they've been friends for a really long time. So even though it's a surprise to us on the outside, as far as fans and people who kind of watch them, it's no surprise to their inner circle because from what I've heard and seen, Albie Sure always comes to her shows and always pays homage to her and what she was doing. So, it's not a surprise to people in their inner circle that they have decided to take it to the next level. Lunel, she was married for a while. Unfortunately, her ex-husband, because it was her ex-husband before he passed away. I did not know that she was married. I thought she was just, traveling and living her best life because she does what she does. But my biggest thing, a lot of people don't like them connected because they feel like she's going to be his sugar mama. They feel as if he's just in it to win it for whatever it is, not knowing that these people have been friends for a long time. And not just that, Albie Sure, he's been dealing with some things. He's had organ transplants. He's been ill, but he thank God he wasn't through with him yet. He's bounced back. He walks with a cane now, but he's still an attractive man. Lunel is not a bad looking woman either. You just don't put them together. If you didn't know it was Lunel and Albie Sure, you'd be like, they like night and day visually. And that's what most people are looking at. They're looking at the visual side of it. And why do we do that? Why do we do that? You know why? Because most people are attracted to the visual. You never say, man, I love your personality before you get an opportunity to talk to someone. So when you see a couple together, you think they're together because, okay, she's attractive, he's attractive. Okay, they look like they might have something going on. So, they might have a chance when in all actuality, people be connected on that type of vibe all the time. And you know what? Their marriages break up, their relationships break up, and everything. You understand what I'm saying? Lunel was in a relationship and married to this man for many years. When he was ill, before they went their separate ways, she was always there for him, supported him, and that type thing. And honestly, she did the same thing for Albie Sure. She may not have been able to be there all the time physically, but she called and checked on him. He stated out his own mouth every day. And when you become a man or a woman of a particular age, that is what you look for. The visual stuff on the outside, it fades. We all want some eye candy. Don't get me wrong and don't get it twisted. We all want to be attracted visually. But what happens is once we get to a particular age, those requirements kind of be changing. The things that matter to you when you were 19, 20 don't matter to you when you're 40, 50. You know what I'm saying? You should be at a whole different level. And that's what they're doing. If you look at her ex, he's not a bad looking man. I heard one of Lunel's interviews. The young man, he was asking Lunel, why we never heard about your ex-husband, rest in peace to him. Why you never really put his name out there? And she admitted that he had a very choppy lifestyle. She said, those are her words, not mine. And she didn't want people focusing on him and bringing up things that he did and not, judging him for who he was today as she saw him pretty much. But she wanted to keep his past just there in his past. So he was always in the background kind of thing. But when you take a look at him, he's not a bad looking man. You know what I mean? And people like men with an edge. Sometimes women like a challenge. My grandma would always tell me that a woman don't like a weak man. You know what I'm saying? And that is true. Women like men with a little edge to them. You can't have too much of edge because them fools crazy. They cray cray. So, but you want a little challenge, a little something that's gonna make you get up in the morning and be You know what I'm saying? But my problem with this whole thing is that a lot of people feel as if when you hear the conversations and the comments that are online, people feel as if Al B. Sure is the prize. Like he's the one who is the get got person. You know what I'm saying? Like Luenell don't deserve him. In actuality, I feel the opposite. I'm just keeping it 100. We ain't talking about just the visual. We talking about just, you know, keeping it 100, the whole portfolio. Luenell is put together too. You understand what I'm saying? She has a good job, as I stated earlier. She's doing her thing still at 66. Albert Sure ain't made no music in a long time. Now he has written a book. He has written a book. I don't know how good it was or whatever, but he has written a book. Yes. But as far as Luenell is still out here getting her money. So I don't understand why everybody, can't get past the visual kind of thing. Cause I know that's what time it is. That's the type of time they on. They looking at the visual and they can't look into this relationship as if this might be a relationship that has potential. Because my biggest thing is you could be married to a man and swear or a woman that you swear him or her are the apple of your eye. You're gonna be there till you die together. And you know what? Y'all break up and you can't even stand him. He might have been looking good at that time, and now you think he's the ugliest dog in the world. And you might have thought she was the finest, cutest thing there was, and now you look at her and you want to slap your own self because you're like, why did I go in that direction? So you understand what I'm saying? People change and opposites attract all the time. They have a bond. They have a friendship. That is something a lot of people don't necessarily have time to bring together like that and build on. You know what I mean? That person becomes your friend, of course, once you meet them. But sometimes, like I say, the longer you with the person, you be like, I don't like him, I don't like her. And my biggest thing, they have a history. They've been friends. Now, some people will say being friends, when you cross over to that relationship thing, it changes the dynamics. When you change over and those lines are blurred now. For some reason, I'm one of those people. I kind of feel like a friendship is good. You got to have a friend in the person that you're dealing with, right? However, however, when you a good guy friend or a good girlfriend, y'all like this. When you cross those lines, man, them waters get muddy. What y'all think? Let me know. Drop a comment or something. Let me know if you on what type of time you on. What do you feel about their relationship? Do you just feel like it's something to do, just some publicity thing to kind of like rock the internet a little bit? Or do you think they have a real, chance of making their relationship work? Do you think they're gonna be able to kind of, get through all the negativities? Because relationship in Hollywood and stuff like that, it's difficult. Just about all of them break up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Do y'all think it's going to be a relationship now? They've crossed over the friendship, point, and now they're trying to make it a thing. Do y'all think that it's something that's going to be able to work out, or do you think they just kind of spinning the block, trying to bring up a little excitement on the internet, and it's just they enjoying the ride right now? Because Luenell, she has been in a relationship. She has said she has been loved, and she knows what it feels like. So of course, as a woman, you always want someone there that's gonna love you and somebody you can wake up to, that you enjoy being with. And I'm sure men as well. But we know men sometimes they're a little fickle because they can move on and shake it real quick. Women, we go a little deeper. It's a little different when our heart is there. Men, they're a little more surface. Not trying to say nothing mean, but I'm just saying I can only speak from experience. You know what I mean? That sometimes men, they can pick you up and drop you down. Most of them, not all of them, because you have some men that love hard, just like women. So I'm just talking about the gist of things. So let's just get that together because I don't want to hear nothing else. Okay. But most women, we love deeper than men. And we stay in there 10 toes down. So I don't know where the relationship is gonna go. I wish them well. Let's wish them well. Let's throw the, deuces up to them and hope that things come out like it should. Like I say, she's 66, he's 57, and you know, who knows where it's gonna end up. Let me know how y'all feel about this relationship. Let me know what y'all think. Drop a comment. Let me know if you think it's a waste of time or is it worth the time. All right.